and welcome back to As Told by Ray. I'm your girl Ray and you are watching my YouTube channel, bitch. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, do not forget to turn on your post notifications so that you could be notified every single time I post. You want to be notified so that you could be a part of the Ray fam, aka the latest fam in the YouTube land, and that is just on period. Okay, please do not forget to follow me on my social media. My Instagram and my Twitter will both be linked down below in the description box for your convenience, sis, because a bad bitch always leaves links, period. Also, while you're down in the description box, don't forget to follow on the Patreon. The Patreon is where I post all of my unedited content for the shows that I am watching. You'll love it there. Full episode reactions where we can watch episode by episode what's happening in these crazy shows that I be watching, period. So please join up on the Patreon if you want access to those full reactions. Now, girl, with that being said, we about to get into the video. But first, I want to say that there is a slight trigger warning for this video. The show that I'm going to be talking about today has a lot of stuff going on: sexual assault, teen pregnancy, you know, that kind of thing. Deals with those type of topic. If you're not comfortable with that, love, that is perfectly fine. I understand. Please do not risk your mental health to be watching this video. There will be another one on the channel. So yeah, now that we got our trigger warning out the way, we're gonna get into today's video. Today, we're going to be talking about a very problematic, unhinged, and straight up just crazy show that I watched when I was younger. And I thought about this randomly the other day, and I just said to myself, I have to make a video on this show because honestly, y'all, it's just an insane show. So today, we're going to be breaking down The Secret Life of the American Teenager, just season 1. There are, I want to say 5 seasons of the show, so you should get 5 different videos like this of me breaking down each season and just talking about it with you guys. So the way that this is going to work, or I plan to work this series on my channel, is it will always be broken down into 3 parts. In the first part, I'm just going to tell you what the show is about. It's really just that simple. You'll get a background on what the show is about, when it came out, what it aired on. You'll get all of that information. The second part that I'm going to talk to you guys about is the characters. I'm going to break down the main cast and then some like side characters that are shown like multiple times throughout the season. I'm going to tell you about who those people are. And then for the last part of this, instead of doing episode by episode, there is 23 episodes in the first season. So I really don't have the energy to sit here and talk about every single episode, especially since, if you ask me, most of the episodes in season 1 are filler. So yeah, I don't really have the energy to break down every single episode. But what I have done is I watched the whole season and I wrote down some things that I would like to discuss from the season, and that's how I decided that I am going to run this whole little like commentary thing. Keep in mind, guys, this is my first commentary style video really like this, so give me some grace while I work out the kinks of like how I want this to run. And yeah, like I promise you, it'll get better with time. It'll get better with time. So, like I said, we're going to get into what the show is about. The Secret Life of an American Teenager is an American teen drama television series created by Brenda Hampton. It aired on ABC Family from July 2008 to June 2013. The show received, really honestly, a lot of mixed reviews from critics, probably due to the topics that were touched on in the show, but it was really generally well received by its target audience, which, if we're being real, was teenage girls. The show actually, you know, broke some records. It was the highest rated debut on ABC Family with 2.82 million viewers for its first episode, and then the season 1 finale brought in 4.50 million viewers, beating out another really popular show that I'll be talking about later, Gossip Girl. So like that's big because Gossip Girl is that one. So the show is really about Amy Jurgens. She is a 15-year-old high school student who finds out that she's pregnant. Season 1 really follows Amy and her friends, family, baby daddy, boyfriend, all of that, as everybody reacts to this news of her pregnancy. So that's really like what the main plot line is about. Like I said, this is a show that I watched when I was a teenager, and not even really a teenager. I was maybe like 11 or 12. So this is a show that I watched at a time period of my life where I was really in my like preteen, teenage angst era. And you know, in when you're in that era of life, shows and things that you watch at that time, you have different views than you would if you were to watch it, say like me now as a fully grown adult watching this show. Y'all, i am I am mind blown. Like seriously, this show is crazier than I remember it being. This show is like much, much wilder, unhinged, like in a list of other things than I remember it being at the time period that I had first watched it. Some of the characters I remember standing, I can no longer stand after watching this first season of this show. Like, y'all, I'm in shambles. It's like watching your favorite show from when you was a kid and then realizing like, oh, like this show was who allowed me to watch that? That's the energy that I got from watching the first season of the show. I literally had to ask my mom like, why did you let me watch this show, girl? But anyway, so yeah. With that being said, you guys are really in for a wild ride with this show. Honestly, just in season one, like I want to show you guys this. I have like 6 pages of notes from this show that we're going to discuss all in this video here today. So, child, let's get into the journey. So first things first, we're going to be talking about the characters in the show. I'm gonna tell you the characters. I'm gonna give you a little bit of information about them, how I feel about them, and then we'll get deeper into it in the portion of the show where I start getting into these notes and really talking about how these people are blowing my mind. Um, so first we're gonna start off with the teenage cast. First things first, of course, we have main character Amy Jurgens. All pictures will be here, by the way. So we have the main character Amy Jurgens. She is the one who falls pregnant at the beginning. If I could use 2 words to describe Amy, the words that I would use are entitled and bratty. Yeah, that's how I feel about her. After Amy, of course, we have Ricky Underwood, who is her baby daddy in the show. And Ricky, low-key, I don't really care for him in season 1, but by the end, he's one of them that you gotta give him grace in the beginning, because he is one of the only characters that I feel like deserves grace in the beginning, because of issues that he had in his past, which we'll talk about later. So yes, there's Ricky. Next up, we have Ben Boykovich, who ends up being Amy's romantic interest in the first season of this show. And throughout the show, really, he ends up being her romantic interest. I think Ben, like Amy, is entitled and spoiled rich kid who, like, you could tell, very much like silver spoon life, just really don't know much about much. Yeah, I think Ben is stupid, me personally, but that's just me personally. Ben is probably like one of my least favorite characters of season 1, if I'm gonna keep it completely honest with you. Next we have Adrian. So she is who I was talking about earlier, one of the characters that I really used to stan. Like I thought like Adrian was just that girl. Like to me, she was very like I said, in my teenage mind, when I watched it, she was very like, she gave me the Manuela Santos vibes. Now watching it back, I can't. She just says too many things that I find extremely problematic, especially for someone who was raised with L parents. So we'll get into her more later. But Adrienne, if I could use a word to describe her, I would say pick me. Clock it. Next we have Grace, whose whole character identity is her being a virgin. If we're gonna keep it a buck. Her whole identity in season 1 is virgin Christian. That's it. That's all. Me personally, if you ask me, I think Grace is delusional, but We'll get into her later, trust me. We then have Jack, who is or was boyfriend to Grace in the beginning of the first season, and then they kind of get back together towards the end. Jack is probably like the least problematic character in the show, to be completely honest. Like, he starts off problematic, but then like as the season one continues, you find that really Jack is the least of the issues in this show. Like, he is like, ooh child, he is one of the better characters to me, if you ask me. Last person that I want to mention for the main teen cast is Amy's younger sister, Ashley Jurgens. Ashley, honestly, she was one of my favorite characters when I watched it as a teen, and I like her even more now. Ashley is 13 years old, and she has the most sense in this entire show. A 13-year-old. And when I say this 13-year-old makes the most sense in this entire show, like has the most smarts, it's really truly like I, I, I can't do anything else but stand. I really mean that. The adults are dumb. Every single one of them are stupid as fuck. So yeah, this 13-year-old is the best character in the show to me personally. A couple of side characters that we see that are in this show, we have Lauren and Madison, who are Amy's best friends, who I think are the worst best friends that any girl could ever possibly have in life. We'll talk about it later. A lot of these characters, y'all, I cannot wait to drag for filth. Lauren and Madison are two that I just cannot wait for. Ben also has his two friends that show up in the show a lot, Alice and Henry, and I don't really have any big opinions on them because I don't really care. So we have Anne and George Jurgens, who are Amy's parents, who, and like if I were to rank stupidest parents on this show, these two would probably be in the top two. Like, and they fighting for number one, really, honestly. Can't stand Amy's dad. Really, just don't like him. Nothing about him. There's no redeeming qualities. I just don't like him. We have Ben's dad, Leo Boykovich, and he plays a big role in some of the stupidity also that is brought up in this show. But I feel like he's one of the smarter parents because he will check Ben when Ben needs checking. We have Lauren's dad, Dr. Ken Fields, and he is Ricky's therapist. I want to say it's throughout the show, but I'm not sure if they keep him for the whole show. I don't recall. I don't remember. So yeah, he's the therapist to Ricky. Grace's parents, Marshall and Kathleen, plus her brother Tom. Tom is really one of the greatest characters in the show. Him and Tammy really just, they do it for me every time. Every time they come up on screen, love it there. We have Ruben and Cindy, who play Adrian's parents, which L parents in season one, BT dubs. Last person I want to mention is Mr. Molina, who is the guidance counselor in the high school where all of the kids go to. And yeah, I don't really care for Mr. Molina. I have my thoughts on him, but we'll get into him later, of course. So that is the cast that I just wanted to mention straight off of the bat. Those are the people who I feel like, we needed to bring up, because, and they're going to be brought up a lot during this next section of the video, where I pretty much am going to talk about some of the plot lines in the first season of the show. Now we are going to discuss some of the plot lines that happen down in the show. Of course, the main plot is Amy discovering that she's pregnant, and how that affects her friends and family relationships. But that's not even really the part of this show that I feel like I want to even touch on. Like, yeah, the pregnancy is a part of it, but there are so many other things that happen in this show that I feel like just need to be mentioned, y'all. Like, first thing that I would like to touch on from things that just irritated me in season one, in no particular order, is Ben and Amy's weird relationship. So if you do not know, in this season one, of course, Amy finds out that she is pregnant. However, Ben is not her baby daddy. Her baby daddy is Ricky. Ben is somebody that she meets in episode one, and essentially, like, Ben falls in love with her just simply by looking at her. Honestly, he sees her and then decides that he is indeed in love with her. Now, these two begin to date. However, at the time when they first begin dating, Ben does not know that she is pregnant, okay? The only people who know at this point are her friends, Lauren and Madison. So, her and Ben begin to date and they begin to have this cute little thing that they got going on. By episode 3, they telling each other, not even by episode 3, child. I really want to say it was sooner than that. Episode 2, 3, they was already saying they loved each other and how they want to be with each other for the rest of life. Like, really on some crazy shit. So, Ben, she eventually has to tell Ben that she is pregnant, not because she tells him, right, like it's her idea to be like, hey, like, let me tell this guy that I'm dating right now that I'm pregnant, because I am, and maybe he should know, because he's also a 15-year-old boy who should know that his 15-year-old girlfriend is pregnant and it's really not by him. No, that's not why she tells him. He finds out from it being a rumor around the school pretty much that Amy is pregnant, and he has to confront her. So, she ends up admitting to the fact that she is pregnant, and Ben, mind you, at 15, suggests that these two have never had sex, by the way, so there's no chance that this baby is his. When I say this, I mean this. He decides that they should get married and raise the baby amongst the two of them. This is a 15-year-old who has nothing to do with this baby other than knowing his mama wants to marry this other 15-year-old because she is pregnant, and pretty much is offering to take care of her and the baby. And it's very weird. It's also weirder that when Amy does finally come around to telling her parents, because it takes her at least like 10, 11 episodes before she even thinks to tell, like, before her parents even find out. Her parents know that this baby does not belong to her boyfriend, and his dad also knows that the baby does not belong to Ben. Yet everybody except for Amy's mom, so both of these dads, are okay with Ben, a 15-year-old, marrying Amy, another 15-year-old who is pregnant, not with his baby, and just letting them just be married and taken care of. It's weird. Ben, to me, gave real stalkery, like real, like, do you even know what love is? Like, why are you willing to take care of a baby that is not your baby, and the baby has a whole pappy? Like, really, the like 15-year-old trying to play stepdaddy to a baby. It is so mind-boggling to me, their entire relationship. They even in this season have, like, are able to get, and when I say the adults in this show are stupid, like I said earlier, this is what I mean. These two 15-year-olds are able to go to a wedding chapel with fake IDs that are not even good, by the way, fake IDs, and have a whole wedding without their parents knowing. Where are their parents? And I feel like there's multiple times in this, like, Ben and Amy relationship in season 1 where Ben completely oversteps his boundary. Like, this 15-year-old, who, again, I must stress this, is not the baby daddy, wants to be involved in going to doctor's appointments. He wants to see the baby, be there when she finds out the sex of the baby. He wants to be there when she gives birth to the baby. Like, really wants to be a stepdad, trying to write the actual dad, Ricky, out of the picture. And I feel like Amy, even though her and Ricky were beefing, or were really not even beefing, just wasn't on the greatest of terms in season 1, Amy allowed Ben to be there to experience shit that Ricky should have been experiencing. Like, there's no way that Ben was able to be, because he is your boyfriend at the time, Ben was able to be there when you figured out what the sex of your baby was, but the baby dad had to find out, like, on some like randomly in an argument, I believe. Like, that's very, very weird. Okay, she got Ben there when she's trying to talk to Ricky about what they gonna do with the baby. Why is he here? Why does he have an opinion? This and what I just said leads me on to my next topic about Amy and her will she, won't she with the baby. Is she gonna keep it? Is she gonna get an abortion? Is she gonna give it up for adoption? This show really, really shows why teenagers should not be getting pregnant, okay? Like, seriously. For the whole, I want to say, for like the first more than half of the season, we were trying to figure out if Amy was going to keep this baby or not. At first, she was going to give the baby up for adoption because she didn't want her life to change, respectfully so. Like, you know, I understand it. Then she was going to keep the baby when she thought that Ben was going to take care of her. But then her and Ben got into it about something, and all of a sudden Amy don't want to keep the baby no more. Amy wants to get a baby up for adoption now. To me, it was giving, she was allowing everybody to make decisions about this life-changing thing that's happening in her life. The only two people, honestly, that should have had any say in what was happening to that baby was Ricky and Amy. No one else should have been able to add in their 2 cents and make Amy sway from whatever decision she wanted to make. She was making decisions selfishly, not based on if she actually wanted to care for this baby. Like, she didn't want to find no job to take care of this baby. She pretty much thought that her parents were going to be the ones that were taking care of this baby, and that's what she thought, and was okay with thinking that. And then when she figured that when her mom pretty much told her, like, no sis, that's not how this works, then she ain't want to keep the baby. She wanted to get a baby up for adoption. In the end, she ends up keeping the baby. Everybody gets a job, including herself, and they take care of the baby. But I just like the whole back and forth, the will she won't she keep the baby thing. To me, it got real old, dry, and stale very quick. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, because it has all the things that I want to talk about. And so from that, I could lead into the entitlement of Amy and Ben in this first season is just so completely mind-blowing. So we haven't discussed, Ben is a rich kid. His father, Leo, is sausage king in a town, and pretty much he owns like a successful sausage company, essentially. And Ben does not have any money. I just want to put that out here. His dad has money, but Ben does not have even a lick of money to his name. Without his dad, is telling Amy, like, yeah, we could raise the baby together. I have money. I would be an amazing stepdad. This, that, and the third. Blah, blah, blah. Then his dad humbled him after overhearing him tell Amy that I could take care of you and the baby. I could do this, that, and the third. And his dad is like, with what money? And Ben is like, well, we have money. His dad is like, no, I have money. Which, clock that. How you 15 offering to be taking care of a baby that's not even yours with money that's not yours? Very, very entitled. Ben, the dad, told him, like, oh, like, if you want to be a part of this baby's life, you need to get a job, because I'm not about to pay for you and your little 15-year-old family with this baby. No, it's not happening. So Ben, where his entitlement comes in, has the nerve to be upset that his dad is making him get a job. Sir, you're offering to take care of a whole other human being that is not your responsibility, and you're mad that you're being told to get a job? Childish. You know why it's childish? Now that I think about it, because he is a whole 15-year-old child. Amy's crazy entitlement. So, you know, throughout the first series, her mom and dad are going through whatever they're going through. Some cheating, weird divorce shit. Some divorce thing that her parents are going through. So her mom, of course, has to get back out into the workforce, which means her mom hasn't worked since her and Ashley, her sister, were born, and now her mom has to step back out into the work field. For whatever reason, when Amy's mom told her that she needed to get a job if she wanted to keep this baby, Amy was like mind blown by the thought of having to get a job. And actually, I want to say that she said, why do I have to get a job when you could take care of the baby? And her mom's like, because I have to get a job. So Amy's like, well, if you get a job, who's going to take care of the baby? And her mom is like, you are, because it's your baby. Amy is upset about this, that she has to get a job to care for the baby that she is having. It's so like, y'all, I'm getting frustrated just even talking about it. We only 13 minutes in, child, and I have not even like touched the tip of the iceberg of things that I need to talk about. And again, this is in no particular order. Like, I'm not going in order or anything. I'm just talking about the things that I have scribbled down here. The next thing that I have that I wrote down is I wanted to talk about Adrian and Grace being delusional pick-me's, but frenemies, yet having horrible takes and making excuses for Ricky. So, like I said earlier, Adrian was one of the characters that I really, really, really was a stan of in the beginning of the series. Well, not in the beginning of the series, but when I first watched the series when I was younger. Now, girl, I just cannot. Like, little background on the whole Adrian and Grace thing that I'm about to discuss. So this storyline kind of starts. The Adrian, Grace, Jack, Ricky storyline is simply put like this. Grace was dating Jack. Adrian was fucking around with Ricky, right? In the first episode, I want to say Jack cheats on Grace with Adrian because Grace doesn't want to have sex and Jack wants to have sex. After that, there's like a whole thing. Jack and Grace break up, and Ricky decides that now that Jack and Grace have broken up, that he wants to talk to Grace. He's talking to Grace with the intentions of trying to have sex with her, even though, like I said, Grace's whole character description is virgin Christian. So it's just not gonna happen. Adrian, of course, is jealous of the fact that Ricky is talking to Grace, and it's pretty much having sex with Ricky the entire time that he's trying to court Grace and doing this whole thing. At some point, Adrian and Grace become friends, and they're still like going through this weird back and forth tit for tat thing with Ricky. It's very strange. Mind you, at this point, everybody knows that Ricky has gotten Amy pregnant. So like, now you two bitches are fighting over a guy who has a girl pregnant at the very same school that y'all go to. Does this not sound crazy to anybody else? Sounds crazy to me. Anyway, so why I say that I think that these two girls are delusional is because from the outside looking in, and really, other people have even like called this out, Ricky doesn't care about either one of them, to be honest. If you ask me, I don't think by the end of season 1, I don't think Ricky cares about Ricky. No, not even by the end of season 1. Ricky doesn't care about anything but having sex in the beginning, and then he becomes a dad. That's essentially what it is. So like, you're letting this guy pretty much trick you into thinking that he cares about y'all when really he just want to have sex with y'all. And it's crazy. The delusion comes in because, like I said, this guy really, honestly, if you ask me, doesn't care about either one of them and is a tad bit narcissistic. Okay, he knows how to say what he need to say to get what he want, essentially. And these girls are arguing over him as though Ricky is like this prize, and he is just truly not. And I don't get it. Grace, for whatever reason, mind you, Ricky has a reputation around this school of being the school's man whore, and Grace thinks, oh well, I'm gonna be able to change him, of course, because bitches always think that they could change a guy, when in reality you cannot change anybody who does not want to be changed. It just is what it is. Like, Ricky don't want to change, so he was never gonna change. He's just good at playing the game, or yes, playing the game that he is dealt. He's good at that. Playing cards he is dealt. He's good. So yeah, both of them are delusional because they're chasing after this guy who just genuinely does not care about them. And they try to paint it as though like, oh, like Ricky cares for both of them, but really, honestly, his actions just don't show it. He just knows that these two girls are not going to go anywhere. Both of them, not even both of them, really, the horrible takes part really goes to Adrian, because Adrian, like, she I feel like both Grace and Adrian honestly really enable Ricky to do some of the things that he does. Like, mind you, like I said, Amy is a pregnant 15-year-old girl that Ricky, if you want to ask me, took advantage of. Okay, clock the T, took advantage of, and got pregnant. And Adrian is saying shit like, uh Ricky would be like, I'm having a baby. Adrian would be like, no, Amy's having a baby. Or I'm the father of that baby. No, you're not the father of that baby. That's just a baby. That's Amy's baby. Like, you don't have to be there if she decides to keep it. Amy has been. This coming from the same girl, mind you, whose daddy wasn't in her life for most of her life. But you're telling this guy to be a deadbeat when you had a deadbeat? Question mark? Okay. Like, okay, sister, if that's what you say, sure. Adrian just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I just feel so bad about that. Like, because I really used to enjoy her, and I just cannot. My conscience just won't let me. um Grace and Adrian's whole like being friends thing was also very delusional of them, because you both like the same dude. Why the fuck are y'all friends? The only thing that y'all literally have in common is this dude. And furthermore, while y'all are claiming to be friends, one of you is sleeping with him and the other one is like going on dates and stuff, and he's actively trying to sleep with her. So what are you two friends for? Does no one else find that strange? Of course, their friendship throughout the series, like, it really grows and it becomes a beautiful friendship by the end. But in the beginning, it's just like, you two bitches are friends because y'all have a common interest, and it's a nigga that y'all both are dealing with. Weird, very very weird. Okay. While we're on the we were talking about Adrian and Grace, but while we're on the topic of like Adrian, I'm gonna go to how pretty much Adrian's has horrible parents who failed her. Throughout this season, you get to see the relationship between Adrian and her mom, Cindy, and then you get to see her dad like comes back in season one. She finds out who he is, and they start, building some type of relationship from in this season. If you ask me, Adrian had a horrible parent who treated her more like a friend than a child, and you can tell by the way that Adrian addresses her mom, um that there is no respect in that household whatsoever. None at all. Adrian was her mama's best friend, and it is really shown through some of Adrian's actions. I feel like a large part of the reason why Adrian is the way that she is in this first season is because of the stuff that she sees her mom do. People refer to Adrian as the school slut, which I don't really agree with, because for the most part she was really fully focused on Ricky. There were some guys like in between there that she did some things with, but for the most part her main like guy that she was on was Ricky. But she got the way that she acts from her mother, because it is said multiple times in the show that her mother sleeps with married men including Amy's dad. Her mother sleeps with married men, and like has never had a relationship that where she was shown love genuinely. It's never been like that. Adrian has never seen her mom in a successful relationship. So of course Adrian acts the way she does, because look at who she has as like her example. Then she has daddy issues, of course, because her dad was in her life, but her dad tries to come back and be the parent that she really needs. But because Adrian is so used to being able to do whatever the fuck she wants to do, she is like so completely against it. But you was looking for your dad, and now here he is offered to you on a silver platter, and you're not even respecting like that he's trying to build a relationship with you now at this point in your life. I just feel like Adrian's parents, now, overall, Adrian, school wise, very smart girl, very very straight A's, a major red, like really like she's that girl academically. But in her personal life, her parents failed her. And I really hate that for her. Like, that's sad because she has so much potential because her mom is not around to make sure that she is growing into her full potential. Adrian is doing whatever it is that she's doing. Her daddy issues make her seek validation from men like Ricky T. And like, I just, it's sad. Like, it truly is. To me, it's sad. So yeah, I really do think that Adrian's parents failed her, just like I think a lot of the other parents on this show failed their kids. Which is why next I'm going to discuss my hate for Amy's dad. I think George Jurgens is the worst character on this show. Worst character on the entire show. The way that he handles Amy's mom, and the way that he talks to her gives very misogynistic, very like, you're a woman so you can't do this type of stuff. Very much gives like, women cook and clean and take care of the kids. Okay, very much gives like he don't have no hope in his wife. Like when Amy's mom was out here looking for her, like jobs and stuff, because his ass pretty much lost all of the money that they family had. He's like, oh, you'll never be able to find a job, you don't even have a degree, or this, that, and the third, like blah blah blah, you can't, you're not gonna be able to do that. Like really seriously like doubting her throughout the whole period of her trying to find something for herself outside of him. He cheated on her, but then had the audacity to be upset when she like started, trying to see other people and doing her own thing. Upset when she wants to file for divorce. Like, sir, you cheated on this lady. Like, huh? Even some of his takes as far as like Amy being pregnant, like, they were discussing adoption at some point, is sabotage meetings with the adoptive parents, like potential adoptive parents. Like, really just ugh, her dad is really just a menace to society. Like, he does a whole bunch of nut ass shit. The mom asks him to move out the house. Instead of moving out the house, nigga moves into the garage. Then after moving out into the garage, he finally does decide to leave the house. But do you want to know where he moves? Into the house next door. Ill was one of the main ones pushing for Amy to marry Ben at 15, knowing good and goddamn well that that baby did not belong to him. Amy's mom was the only one who was like, that's a stupid idea, because it is, would be pitting the girls, Amy and Ashley, against the mom. When, if you ask me, she was the only one who was like the fit parent, really trying to help them and lead them in the right direction. She did some stupid things too now, but like, she is by far not nearly as stupid as Amy's dad, and I hate him and I don't stand. And that's what I have to say about that. Next thing I would like to discuss. Oh, okay. So I told y'all that we were gonna get into, when I brought up Lauren and Madison earlier, how much I think that they are horrible, 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 horrible friends to Amy. Okay. So we have already discussed that Ricky is Amy's baby daddy. We know this. Well, no, before I even get into that part of it, because that part of it will be so mind blowing to y'all that you'll just be like, what the fuck? Before I get into that part, they are the first two people who find out that Amy is pregnant, and her telling them essentially leads to everybody else knowing, because these two bitches don't know how to hold water, don't know how to keep a secret to save their fucking life. They tell every single piece of Amy's business, even without meaning to. Bitches is just talking about Amy's business in the hallway at school, and people is walking by just hearing them talk about they good sis business. Like, I would fucking never. So outside of them being big mouth bitches who, oh, I'm sorry, Lord, forgive me, but it's true. Outside of them being big mouth bitches and telling all of Amy's business, do you know that these two stupid hoes start competing for the attention of Amy's baby daddy, Ricky? After knowing that Amy is pregnant by him, they best friend's baby daddy, these two bitches get into a competition trying to see which one of them can get Ricky's attention. One of them, Lauren, even going so far as to be in a car making out with her best friend's baby daddy. Are we not disgusted? Like, you two bitches are the most horrible friends that I've ever seen in life. Like, these are the same girls, again, horrible friends, who told Amy that before she told Ben that she was pregnant, that she should have sex with Ben and then say, oh, I'm pregnant, so that she could dump the baby on Ben instead of having to admit that to him that Ricky is her baby daddy. This is what these two bitches suggested that she do. When I tell you, they are the most horrible friends. Like, Adrian, who did not even like Amy, who does not like Amy because of Ricky, did nicer things for Amy than her two friends did. And that's a gag in itself. Her whole low-key enemy was a better friend to her than her friends. Is that not embarrassing to them two bitches? Like, let me get off them before I get pissed off. Speaking of friendships, I also want to discuss how throughout this season one, the only thing that was proved to me, like that was the biggest picture of this whole thing, is that none of the teenage cast are really friends for real. Adrian and Grace claimed to be friends, but are messing with the same dude. Lauren and Madison and Amy are supposed to be this best friend trio, but really it's a Lauren and Madison thing, and they be talking shit about Amy, and they be spreading her business all around the school, and like just generally being horrible friends to her. And Ricky don't really got no friends. Ben's friends, Henry and Alice, are probably like the only real friends to a character in this show. Like, I would say that they genuinely do care about Ben, because on multiple occasions they have told him like, hey bro, that is stupid, she is pregnant, maybe you should leave her alone. Like, they were trying to give him good advice and he just wasn't taking it, but they tried. So I think that they were genuinely like pretty decent friends. Outside of like their three, none of these people really cared about each other or were really friends to each other, because they all talk shit about each other. So how you friends with somebody that you don't even really like, or that you be talking shit about, or whose boyfriend you be trying to sleep with? Like, girl, that is not friendship. And if it is, that's not the friendship that me and my friends have, child. That it's not the same. And like I was mentioning earlier, the one person who was calling everybody out on they bullshit was the 13-year-old Ashley, Amy's sister. She was the only one who was able to acknowledge how dumb some of these people were. She was the only one to acknowledge that maybe Ben and Amy didn't need to be together. She was the only one who acknowledged that, hey, this is Ricky's baby. Don't you think he should have some type of say in what goes on with his baby? Like, she was the only one who was checking Amy. She was the only one who was checking the dad. She was the only one who was checking their mom. Like, literally, a 13-year-old made the most sense out of everybody in this show. And it's sad. Truly. This is gonna be like a slight jump, because now I kind of, something that I want to discuss that I have here on my notes is Ricky and how his traumas are handled in this show. So just some background on what traumas I'm getting ready to discuss. In the beginning of the show, we find out that Ricky is in therapy because he is a foster child. He was taken away from his parents because his father sexually assaulted him when he was a child. So he was taken out of the house and put into foster care. And you know, now he's doing his therapy where he's talking with Lauren's dad, who is his therapist, and all of that stuff. The way that these people act when they find out about Ricky and like what happened to him, as a child is giving like very much very weird vibes to me personally. You have Amy, who at first is like, well, if that is the stuff that he went through as a child, what stops him from doing that to my child? Like, makes it an extreme big deal. Like, maybe I don't want him around the baby. We just gonna call the baby John because that's what she ends up naming the baby. So yeah, she don't really want him around John because of his past and what he had to go through, as a literal child, mind you. So now he's this like broken bad boy. When the news got out around the school, because of course Lauren does not know how to keep her fucking mouth shut and she spreads everybody's fucking business. When it got out around the school, people was acting like very weird towards him, as if he wasn't a literal child when things like this happened to him. Like he asked for the traumas that he was handed to happen to him. And this is not only a take that I heard from children on the show, but this is a take that Amy's dad also had about Ricky and his traumas. Is that something that I want to be around my grandson? Like, how do we know that he's not going to be an offender? This, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, like, it was blamed on Ricky for what happened to him. There was an episode where well, it's like a couple episodes where his dad got out of jail and came back after realizing that Ricky had gotten somebody pregnant and was trying to set up like a whole adoption thing, under the table adoption thing, where they could get paid money. Pretty much he was trying to sell the baby. And when his dad came back around and they figured out what all had happened, Ricky's dad, mind you, the whole person who sexually assaulted Ricky as a child, was able to convince Amy's dad that Ricky is a liar, and he went to jail because of Ricky's lies and this, that, and the third, and really had her dad believing that. Like, it's very weird the way that they handle Ricky's past. Is very, like, it's not okay to me. This boy was literally taken through traumas, like some traumatizing shit. And for you to believe the man that he's claiming like put him through the traumatizing shit is beyond crazy to me, honestly. If we're gonna keep it like 100% real, crazy to me. This honestly is why towards the end of the show, when we get into like season 3, 4, and 5 and stuff, it's why Ricky becomes one of my favorite characters, because he overcomes a lot of this shit. Even in season 1, I feel like Ricky is one of, alongside Ashley, Ricky is honestly very mature, and him finding out that he was having a baby, like once it became real for him, he became like, he had one of the best character developments in this show, period. He made a whole complete like 180 from the guy that he was in the first episode to the guy that he is in the last. And that's why I decided from now on that we stand Ricky. Deserves better. I want to talk about also Ben and Ricky's relationship, because I think it's weird that they go from enemies to co-dads in 23 episodes. Crazy. Honestly, if you ask me, it's insane. The fact that if I was Ricky, I would be super offended that not only are we having a baby this young, but I'm having a baby with a bitch and she has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is like super involved in whatever the fuck we got going on. Like, I would be super offended. And low key, me personally, I would have had to tell Amy by herself, because bitch, you got me fucked up if you think that this man is going to be taking care of my baby. You're going for somebody who is literally the same age as me, and you got him like taking care of my baby, figuring out what the sex of my baby is and all of that before me going to doctor's appointments, being there when being at the hospital waiting for the baby to be born. Like, there is not a moment of this pregnancy that Ricky got to enjoy just on his own. Everything had to include Ben, and I hate that. And the two of them at first really dislike each other, which they should by right. But towards the end, I will commend them on like being able to, I guess, put their differences aside for the well-being of the baby. I still think it's wild that this is a situation that they're dealing with at 15, 16, but the fact that they were mature enough to put that shit to the side and just be like, look, it's a baby here now and we both about to be taking care of this baby, so it is what it is. We at least got to be friends for now. So I can commend that they was able to do that, but to me it's still wild that it was even like happening. Ben's dislike for Ricky before Ricky even anything to him, if you really think about it, Ben didn't like Ricky just because of the simple fact that he had sex with his girl. And I know I touched on earlier how like Ricky took advantage, and I think he did to a certain extent take advantage of Amy, but at the same time, the last episode, well, the second to last episode where Amy is like going back through like the memories of how her and Ricky met, how everything went down at band camp, to me it looked like it was a mutual decision for the two of them to have sex. Yeah, Ricky might have been slightly manipulative, like making her think that he liked her more than he did, and like this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, it was literally both of their decision to have sex. So I hate that like Ben's reasoning for not liking Ricky is literally because he feels like Amy was taken advantage of, because Amy is so innocent and Amy can't do any wrong and blah 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 blah. But really, it was a choice that the two of them made together. Was the choice for them to get pregnant? Like, no, probably not. That's not what they meant to do. That part was an accident. However, the sex was definitely something that the two of them participated in. So, girl, we're gonna move on from Ben and Ricky, and we're gonna get into we're getting down to the last couple things that I kind of wanted to talk about. So while this is something that I really want to touch on because it's something that happens like within the last few episodes of the season, and it mind boggles me with Jack. So, you know, Jack, in trying to find himself, starts to do this mentor program with kids, with where he mentors a kid that is from, you know, I guess lower income neighborhood. And as he is mentoring this kid, the kid has an older sister, and when I say older sister, this girl is like 20, 21. Jack is 16, by the way. So to make a long story short, eventually these two start messing around together and are like low-key in a relationship. And I just wanted to talk about how like disgusting I thought it was for him and Shauna to be in a relationship, especially because like I said earlier, she was 20 and he was 16, and the only person that like made even a lick of sense in that situation was the little brother, who was essentially telling her like, a sis, like, he is a literal child. This is something that she did not think about before like this was said to her. They've already like kissed and all type of things. This is a child and you dating like a literal child. Like, you could go to jail. Don't you, like, you don't get that jail is a place and you can go. That is the only time that she thought about this. And even after this conversation was had, she continued to date Jack. The only reason that she stopped dating Jack was because, and yes, this is a literal storyline in the show, when Amy had her baby shower, Jack kissed Grace, and you know, Shauna was like, had the feeling that Jack was messing around with somebody else, and so she goes to this baby shower with these literal teenagers and says, and like, you know, goes and tries to confront and blah blah blah. well, in having a conversation with Jack later, she says that she can't date him because she can't hang out with his friends. She realized that his friends are all teenagers and she's about to be 21, and that's just not her mind state. She can't hang around with a teenager. Bitch, why didn't you realize that when he told you how old he was? You thought a 16-year-old was gonna have grown friends? Like seriously, like seriously, you thought a 15-year-old was about to have like grown ass friends who just know, who are just mature and like, you know, that's what you thought? It is, that storyline really threw me for a loop. Like, I just could not believe it. I could not believe that the only one who was smart enough to say something was the little brother. The only one who didn't think it was a good idea was the little brother. And even after he brought that to the sister's attention, she still decided to date a 16-year-old at 20. What does a 20-year-old have in common with a 16-year-old? Nothing. Literally nothing. And so, yeah, the last thing that I have on my notes that I want to discuss, that something that bothered me in this season, is Mr. Molina's inappropriate relationships with these students. As a school guidance counselor, I feel like some of the conversations had with Ben and some of these other students were conversations that really he shouldn't have been having. It was very inappropriate to have with these kids, in my personal opinion. I don't really think that he is a good counselor, because he pretty much, I feel like just the relationships between him and these students just weren't appropriate. Like his relationship with Ben, uh the stuff that they were talking about, he should have been telling Ben like, hey, like this is not a conversation for me as a school guidance counselor who is here to help you with your academics. Maybe I can direct you to somebody who can better help you, because crazy, the whole setup where Ben wanted to talk with Amy and Ricky, and he felt like he should be a part of the conversation where those two are literally talking about what they're going to do with their child, and Mr. Molina set that up in his office, is crazy to me, because this is not a conversation for school, and why are you doing that? Comments that Adrian was allowed to make to him about wanting to possibly do things with him weren't checked the way that they should have been checked by a grown ass adult. I don't know. I just really don't think he was an appropriate guidance counselor for these kids. He was too deep in, too involved in what they had going on. And I just, in their personal drama, and I just think that that's not professional from a guidance counselor. And that's just what I wanted to really touch on with him. And so that's pretty much what I have that I wanted to discuss from season 1 as of right now. Yeah, anything that I did not mention, you can always leave it down in the comments and we can have some dialogue about it. I don't mind discussing anything from this show, because I think this show is crazy. Okay, crazy. Season 2, I should have that part of this video coming out. I haven't started watching it yet, but I'm planning to start watching it like, I'm gonna start watching it sometime this month, so I'm thinking that I'll probably have the part 2 to this video out in like March or so. And like, you can always like I said, go to the Patreon and you'll be able to watch the full episodes if that's what you want to do. If you want like a full episode by episode reaction of the series. Um and yeah, my ending thoughts so far on this show is that it is it is a crazy iconic show. Honestly, like Watching it back as an adult, yes, I will agree that a lot of the things that happen in this show now I don't agree with, but back then I did. Even though I don't agree with some of the things happening in this show, the shit made for good television, and like you cannot deny the iconicness that is the Secret Life. Like it was really like what a time. Like seriously, when this was airing, like I remember I used to sit and wait for episodes of this to come out. Like seriously, it was that girl, and it still is really that girl. It's just some of the things just have not aged well, and that's fine. A lot of stuff doesn't age well, but it's still a very iconic show. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the series, and I can't wait to get into season 2 with you guys. And yeah, with that being said, I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope that, you know, that I did season 1, its due diligence, and I hope this is a video that you guys enjoy. With that being said, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that, you know, you could be up to date when I post things. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.